Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Today we're going to have a look at the masks, some of the masks of Michel "Bunny" Larocque. He was a Canadian goaltender, best known for his time with the Montreal Canadiens, where he won 4 consecutive Stanley Cups from 1976 to 1979 as part of one of the greatest dynasties in the history of the NHL. So this is his Montreal Canadiens mask, or a version of his Montreal Canadiens mask, with the bunnies on the side and the bunny word in the middle. So the nickname came from early childhood. They said that he bounced around the rink like a little rabbit, and just a nickname that stuck with him for the rest of his career. He started with the Ottawa 67s in the OHA. He won the CHL Goaltender of the Year award in 1972, drafted 6th overall in the 1972 NHL Amateur Draft by the Montreal Canadiens. His mask was mostly white when he was with them, but the same style of mask. 76 to 79, he was the Stanley Cup winner with that team, and he was also a co-winner of the Vezina Trophy in 76, 77, 78, and 1979. Mostly with Ken Dryden. There's Ken Dryden's target mask right there. That was his teammate in the Montreal Canadiens, and he was mostly the backup to Ken Dryden, but still was a very important part of that team. In his last year with Montreal, he shared the Vezina with Denny Herron and Richard Sevigny. So this is Sevigny's mask here, beside Larocque's Toronto Maple Leafs mask. That's a pretty nice mask also. I always liked the style of that when I was growing up. Red and blue, white in the center with airbrushing on it. Very few masks back in the day, in the late 70s and early 80s, had airbrushing, but that was one of them. Love that mask. Richard Sevigny, teammate of Bunny Larocque with the Montreal Canadiens. Then he went to Toronto. This was his Toronto mask here. Played there for a couple of years. Same style as the Montreal one, with the bunny in the center and the 2 bunnies on the sides on the cheeks. Mike Vernon mask in the background. So he played 312 games in the NHL. His record was 160 wins, 89 losses, and 72 ties. It's a lot of games to be tied. Career goals against 3.23, and he had 13 shutouts. He also represented Canada in the 1975 World Championships and won a bronze medal there. So this is his mask with the Toronto Maple Leafs. After Toronto, he went to Philadelphia and had the same style of mask again, orange in color though, to match the Philadelphia colors. Always had the bunny, one of the first in the NHL that had his nickname or something to do with his nickname on his mask. After we retired, he was a general manager of the Victoriaville Tigre in the QMJHL. There's the Philadelphia mask there. Later on, he became president of the QMJHL. He served in that role from 1990 to 1992. Did a lot to promote player development in the Q League and modernizing the operations of the league. He died on July 28th of 1992 from complications related to a brain tumor. He was only 40 years old, very young to die. Major loss in the hockey community at the time. Even though Dryden was the number 1 guy in Montreal, he was definitely a key component to that dynasty. One of the most decorated and probably the greatest backup goaltender in NHL history. Professional, high on teamwork, quiet in leadership, multiple Vezina trophies. For a non-starter, that's a huge deal. After Philadelphia, they were kind of set on a young guy named Pelle Lindbergh. This is Lindbergh's mask here. One of the favorites in my collection. So they sold him to the St. Louis Blues, and that's where he finished his career. There's the Dryden Target mask again. That's made by Tony DeLuca. It's an absolutely fantastic mask. Rectangular nostril hole and the chip in the bottom. There's Lindbergh's mask one more time. So once again, thank you all for looking. I really appreciate the views and the likes and the comments. And if you have not subscribed, please do so. Thank you and have a great day.